All right, testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Hello, this is just a quick little live that I just threw together. I thought I would go live this morning. Good morning, Carrie Ann. Good morning. What you going to do about it? Or Alan, the DBA? Can you guys hear me? Loud and clear, can you? Well, it's just a quick live, it doesn't have a title or anything like that because I just wanted to see who will all drop by. I know that Photon is live right now, but I don't care. He entertains trolls anyway. So, you probably were wondering why I went live today. I was gonna go live today anyway, but then I noticed something. Um, oh hi, brother of age. I noticed something about, and hi, beautiful Bernice. I noticed something about um I think YM touched on the topic that I was going to do today. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about skin lightening. We're going to also talk about applications. We're going to talk about um, some imagery that I've done and things like that. Okay. So I wanted to start off by actually putting a background up. So or overlay. Okay. So let me do this. All right. Okay. Let me see. Do I want to do this? Okay. So I wanted to do this. All right. Okay. So a lot of people have heard talk about Nikki um, lightening her skin and all this and that on the internet. And once again, I have to come on here and debunk a lot of those false storylines or lies because I hate the word narrative. Okay, so one of the things is that I noticed that there's an image going around of Nikki that was not taken by Nikki or was not even designed by Nikki. There's a YouTuber who decided to use an application to make Nikki into a cartoon, which made her skin lighter, which makes people believe that that is her skin tone, or she did that to her image. So I just wanted to go back into history where Nikki had asked me to make her into a cartoon because she saw that I had done that with something else. So I went ahead and I made her into a cartoon. But what I had to do was, because there's a lot of software or application out there that does not show our true tone, I had to actually use another application to make her the tone that she is on this image right here. This particular image was an image that I designed almost, I don't know if it was this year or over a year ago. I designed this picture. And so, as you can tell, this picture that I designed actually shows Nikki's skin tone, right? So you can see this is a side by side of Nikki. This is her image, and this is what her skin tone is. Okay. So I wanted to touch on what YM was talking about. So I'm going to read YM's post, and I definitely want to give YM credit for this because she actually linked the video about color film was built for white people. YM says, on one of Breaking the Culture's live streams, I saw and heard chat alleging that some of the videos vocal women in the sector lightened their skin. What first came to mind for me was Kodak's Shirley Card as being the base of white supremacy and racism in photography. Photography machinery was designed to capture white people's skin tone as the norm. All right. Even to this day, with our modern technology, problems persist in lightening non-white people properly. It's very common to see that some Black people in a range of photos with different skin tones. The funny thing about that conversation on Breaking the Cultures Live is that Photon was there to my memory and he had no response. Maybe he was caught off guard, but he has also been accused of lightening his skin in photographs. And there is a video, I can actually drop the link to it that discusses this. So I'm going to go ahead. Hold on. And she actually posted the link. So, I mean, she made my job a little bit easier, but I will give her credit and I also will drop her channel. Okay, so let me go ahead and drop this link for you guys. And good morning to all those who just came in. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right, so let me go ahead and drop this link. And then I'm also going to drop a link if someone wants to come on online and really talk to me about it, or you can stay in the chat. That's not a big deal to me. Okay, so that's the video about the Shirley card that YM dropped. And then let me go ahead and go back and drop YM's channel. So because I like to give her credit for everything that she does if I use her content, because that's only fair, right? So let me go ahead and drop this. And then okay, so then I'm going to move on to the next thing. So I pulled up some information about photo apps that make your melanin pop. Okay, so we're very aware that there's not too many applications that do make your skin pop. And if you search hard enough, you may find one or two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the overlay to this one. Okay, so this is Nikki's photo, of course, again. And so there's an app called toner.co. Okay, it was actually created by 3 Black women, and they created this app, right, to amplify our beauty, our different skin tones. Okay, I'm not going to pull up the app because I think it's on a device, and I just don't have time to do all that. All right, so there are a few applications that do that. So there's not an issue with um, us figuring out ways to darken our skin. You could do it with Adobe. You can do it with, I think you could do it with PicArt if you pay for it. If you pay for applications, you definitely could do it. A lot of free applications do not do any of these things. So as you can see, a lot of people in the sector do use a lot of free applications, right? So I just wanted to point that out because, it looked like something that I could have done, but I did not do that. And I believe that the only person that's actually has the ability to probably use applications and has a history of using it is actually Ray Triggs. He actually is floating around an image of Nikki that he created, which using one of those apps that typically whitewash us Black women. And instead of them correcting that, the fact that they took an image of her and made her lighter to try to use her as content, they they're running with this whole storyline that she has lightened her skin. Now she has not. As I talked to Nikki before, she is very proud to be a chocolate woman. I am also proud to be a woman of that skin tone, or maybe I'm a little lighter, depends, I don't know. But in this sector, we have a lot of people who wants to run with this colorist narrative without seeing a lot of the women in the sector, right? They do not know what complexion a lot of us are in the sector. Some of us are light skinned, some of us are medium tone, and some of us, or a few of us, is dark skinned, right? But as Carrie always says, we have exoticals running around. Well, those who typically can pass or have not had the Black experience, telling people that we are anti biracial, anti this, anti that. I grew up in an era where we are very proud to be Black no matter what they are. I also grew up with two brothers, who one was light complected and one was darker than me. And we come from the same parents, right? So I never knew it's as I grew up, about the difference between, them until I saw how they were treated. I had one brother that was treated a little fairly different from the one that was dark skinned. And that was not within my household, but out in the world. So it's very hard for me to accept this storyline that people are running around telling. Some of us have light skinned parents. Hi, Keeper. Some of us have light skinned parents. Some of us have dark skinned parents. Some of us have biracial parents, right? Well, my biggest thing is that those who have not experienced the real true Black experience or grew up in neighborhoods where there was majority Black typically run with these storylines that we are the most anti-Black, anti of them, that we are, we want to look light skinned, we want to have light features, and probably there are Black people that do want those things. We're just not one of them. Sometimes people say, "Oh, this isn't the Black sector," blah blah blah. Well, it started off as Umar Johnson was a Black man that a lot of people were following. I doubt that there's a lot of white people are following Umar Johnson, and then we all collided in this sector. So I just wanted to point that out, and if anybody have any questions they want to ask me, or like I said, you want to hop on the panel, you can. Oh, there she is. Hi, Carrie. Carrie, can you hear me?
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
Oh, good morning, Carrie. How's it going? Let me take this overlay off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do. Fine. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Hi.
So I didn't watch Eating and Scarlett both recently did interviews with Photon where they're playing victim to me, and the word on the street is.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, I haven't seen. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you haven't seen them either. You can't feel me.
Yeah, I can't even speak on what Scarlett is talking about, but I was around when Scarlett was coming for you, and I was around when she made anti-Black comments towards you about your hair, the way your skin color looked and all that, and now she's playing like she didn't do that. And then when she was exposed, and even though she has a fake picture now pretending like that's her, but because she doesn't, the other two pictures that got out showed that she was a fairly light looking person. Can't I can't collaborate what her race is, and now now there's supposed to be like this little army of women who are light complected discussing the fact that we have issues when they were the ones that started bringing that up in the first place.
Yeah, and I find that interesting, but I can't be bothered to watch she's running with for when I started picking on biracial women.
Right.
Because Scarlett was bragging about the fact that she hit me with her rent, and she was like this little sector regulator from the big bad rich bitch.
Terry, you're going
the light skin victim.
Terry, you're kind of going in and out a little bit.
I thought it didn't sound right. Let me get off this Bluetooth. Give me.
Okay.
Hey, I think Streamlabs doesn't work with my.
Oh, it doesn't work with your phone or your computer?
I'm about to go on my.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. She'll be back. So, my other thing that kind of bothers me about this sector is that they're not putting context on what the racial experience that, Black women have versus people that can pass. There are a lot of stories and a lot of books about people who can pass, right? And what I've gathered in my life is that some people don't experience the same thing, Black experience that a lot of us experience. Like, we, a dark skinned and complected person is 9 times likely to be more pulled over, or at least be treated aggressively in schools, by the police. You find that a lot of black kids, especially, are suspended more often than kids that are not.
But are we like proving that colorism is a thing? Do we have to even, is that a
No, we
conversation?
don't. We don't have to.
Okay, yeah. Can we just
Yeah.
take it for a given that colorism exists and it's used against dark skinned people, not light skinned people? Stop playing with me. Can we just move on from that?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, because I'm not about to sit here and talk dumb bird talk just because birds are talking. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I hear
Um,
you.
but what I'm trying to figure out is, it seemed to me like I was minding my own business, making a splash in the sector, and Scarlett was bragging about using her wrench against me because she was the big bad wrench bitch who could do whatever she want all over the sector. And I didn't even make the connection that it was racial attacks and she was mad because I'm an outspoken black woman until she started calling me dirty and talking about my skin and hair months later when I cammed up.
That is,
So
yes.
all the months when she was doing little shit to me and then people was acting like I was doing too much and reacting, I remember people trying to tell me, I remember T Pre trying to tell me that that's just how Scarlett is and I shouldn't react and I'm gonna just go for it. And I told her, you might let non-black, you know what I'm saying? She might be that way with you. But ain't no bitch about to block me out of show I'm enjoying for no fucking reason just because she can't take me. And it's cool with me. So I would express myself on that bitch and every type of whack bitch she was, having nothing to do with her. So I'm just trying to figure out how she went from Scarlett, the big bad wrench bitch who laughs about trolling black women, and it was funny that she got me upset. Do you remember when she was bragging about upsetting me? Do you ever remember her saying that I did anything to her to deserve that? Because I don't.
Well, yeah, I did hear her. I was there. So she kept blocking you, and her reasoning was you were annoying and all this, or just making up something. And then once she saw the way you looked and you cammed up, she started making anti black comments. And then when she was exposed, then now it's like, okay, we are anti light skin, you know. So the thing about it is, I did see her basically coming for you because you're very outspoken, but I've seen her come for many women that are very outspoken.
Many black women.
Right, many black women. I remember when she was kept going at Sexy Star, and Sexy Star is a dark skinned woman, and that was way in like Max's chat and Binary, where she
Let me
would.
ask you this. Has there
Uh-huh.
been any instance of Scarlett randomly calling a light skinned woman dirty or
No,
talking about her hair?
no.
So, but I'm the colorist. You know what I'm saying? I'm the colorist because, so I guess to not be colorist, I gotta let exoticals disrespect my skin and hair. And if I don't say nothing, it proved they the big bad wrench bitch. And if I react, it proved they a successful troll because they like upsetting black women. And if I go in on her looks, now I'm colorist. So I'm trying to figure out what story is she running with for when I allegedly targeted her.
Well, like I said, people in the sector, they run with any type of lie or story, because I can't say narrative. I hate that word. But they lie, they run, they think that we have a short-term memory. And I feel like for her, I used to ignore Scarlett a lot of times because she just, like you said, wasn't really memorable, or she really wasn't saying anything. And I
Bland as
remember,
mayonnaise. Yeah.
I remember that one time where she did a debate with Carrot, not Carrot, um Stargate, and they were on debating, and all she
That
did
sounds like
was.
an even match, but go ahead.
Right, it was. But all she did was insult Star and say how annoying she was and everything else. And now she's aligned with her because they have this thing where, you know what, we're going to try to gather up all the people that look like us and then make it seem like the
Yeah.
women are coming, the women of different complexions are coming, not knowing that the two women that she was arguing with are light are probably the lightest skinned women in the sector.
No, I think that that's purposeful. I don't think they did that by mistake. They're the beige victims of the sector. And my thing is this, like, why would I care? Like, if they want to convince people, because here's the thing, and it's funny, I saw Spotum caping for her yesterday. He know how to protect the exotical. Every other protection, he don't know what the fuck you talking about, and it ain't his problem. But exoticals in distress, I see, get a cape from Spotum, right? But now that they the victim, and it's gonna be niggas, particularly dark skinned niggas, that's gonna go for that shit and always want to cape for these people who are have more proximity to whiteness. But my thing is, they're welcome to it. My thing is, are they asking for reparations? Like, what is their point? If these women who all either targeted me or got it from me because they deserved it, if I don't like them because they're light skinned, and then what? And now what? Because my thing is, I understand why every time Scarlett get pulled on a panel, she got to talk about me, because it's no way Scarlett is going to go on a panel and talk about herself. Maybe some other people in the sector or something, but there's no there. You know what I'm saying? And so she is annoyed by everybody because everybody got a personality but her, and she can't figure out why everybody else just don't say hello 1,000 times like she do. Right? So my thing is, yeah, what is their point? If you claim that I don't like you because you're light skinned, like, are you gonna have anything else to talk about? I heard these bitches playing my videos from a year ago to argue with. Like, is they ever gonna get over me, Joe? Is they ever gonna get over me?
I don't think so. I think that they need, in this sector, what happens, and I feel like this is what typically happens, is that you have a set of men in a sector that are very fascinated with what you call exoticals, right?
Well, I mean, in general, they have white privilege. Yeah, it's not just
right.
the niggas in the sector. They have white privilege and they know it. That's why she gave the cum guzzling jobs to the unambiguous woman. But go on.
Right. So so because they give them, the big ups, and they follow them around, and they say, they worship the ground, they the loud and or the outspoken women, right? They are going to, scrutinize them until until they either get to see what they look like and realize that they're decent or attractive, or they can get close to them, or you saying the things that they want to hear. But 9 times out of 10, they get a free pass. They can say whatever they want.
Right. Instant victim status. And my thing is just this, beautiful Bernice saying, get over them. I want to be clear. Like, I'm discussing this. It's worthy of discussion. This reverse Uno colorist bullshit these dumb hoes are trying to pull is worth speaking about, beautiful Bernice. But I'm not bothered, because my thing is, even if these women convince their entire audience that I was the colorist who targeted them, I could not care less. Just like, see, a prostitute get called a prostitute and she mad. When they call me ugly, I'm not bothered. Like, I mean, okay, go with that. Typhos Bengali be doing whole videos about how she's more attractive to me than men, and no man would ever want me. Like, why would I give a fuck? Like, run with that. Go off, sis. Whatever. But I mean, I'm still gonna talk about how crazy you sound to me. This shit is fucking bizarro world.
I agree.
Oh, beautiful Bernice, it's content. I think it's worth talking about. But please believe me, I'm not about to start doing videos in a dark, dungy bathroom washing my hair to prove it. Like, I'm good. I'm not trying to prove shit to nobody. Hey, Alan.
Hi, Vici. Welcome to the chat sector.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
How's it going?
Oh, man, cold chilling. It's good to see all my cousins up here. Look, let's talk about these guys, man. Let's talk about the colorism that's went on in this sector, okay? Or just the total disrespect, the total disregard for Black women and their features. I can talk about what D. Darrell first did and said to Carrie Ann. He thought it was funny that he could come out here and he wanted to talk about somebody's hair. I mean, that was the first sign for me. And whether you're...
Was that anti-Black, Alan? I hate to interrupt you, but when D. Darrell went after my hair, was that anti-Black?
No, it was a reaction to anti-Blackness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, you cool. Yeah, look, the words and the terms are always going to be hard. It's going to be getting the words right is very important, man. That's why we got things like dictionaries and stuff like that. Getting the words right in any situation, I think, is going to be key. And the reason that a lot of people are able to run around and do and say the things that they do and say, like colorism, reverse racism, and stuff like that. It comes out because we really haven't become masters of words yet. We really haven't nailed the words down and made them mean what and used them to reflect phenomena that we actually see outside our doors. So yeah, that's going to be one of the things that we have to do, redefining the world based on truth. I mean, that which is the things that are actually happening and not the things that we're imagining are happening. That's a hard process. But like I said, I can remember when Darrell did it. I can also remember when Let Me See Your Transcripts first came out. That was one of the things that I had said when I was still talking with the AFW was that, man, look, I don't agree with you guys, one, trying to fat shame. But I saw something more sinister in the background. I think they were trying to shame Let Me See Your Transcripts for being an undeniable, unambiguous Black woman. I don't think that I know that. And those are things, those have been the running themes. And I want to go back to what Sister Carrie said about Spot 'em, Shot 'em. Yeah, it is, for a person who is as opinionated and outspoken as he was, he has definitely changed his tune when it comes to what y'all call, and I'm going to use some qualifiers here. I have to use qualifiers for my own sanity. I'm calling breaking a non-Black person, but for anybody else, I would, if you thought she was light-skinned, let's just say a light-skinned Black person, okay? And make sure that Black person is the qualifier, if that's what you want to call it. Like, just not light skin by itself. It's a light skinned Black person, not biracial by itself, a biracial Black person or a biracial non-Black person, not just an exotical by itself, an exotical Black person or an exotical non-Black person. I think we have to make those distinctions for clarity. Okay. But it does seem that he's talking to those that are unambiguous. I'm sorry, that are ambiguous as far as I'm concerned, racially, and definitely trying to take up for them. So those are just a few observations that I had. But this sector has been highly mean and particularly nasty to undeniable, unambiguous Black females, for sure.
Well, I'll just say this. I believe that, like, I can't say that that Spottom only defends only people that are like that color. He back in the beginning, I think he's always trying to, he's opinionated like YM, trying to find out, like, okay, is this true? Is this not true? So I really believe that. I do believe that there are people just
I
like,
mean, some of the same things he talked about Nikki for, like a dog. I mean, really? I'm not saying he never stuck up for nobody but light-skinned people, but you don't think it's the way that he caping for certain people seem interesting, given his previous behaviors?
Okay, I can argue that. You might be right about that. I can argue that.
Because it seemed like certain people just getting a solid pass on, they could be hot wives and they could play with shit for a living, and this bitch in the chat like, she's not ugly. It's just like, oh wow, okay, all right, so a nigga can't, okay.
Well, that just goes with what I used to say about the porch mentality during slavery. They would see that woman that was washed and clean on the porch, sitting up there on the porch looking, she was in the house, and she, and that, man, he saw that woman because she was clean, but the woman next to him that was out in the fields picking the cotton was just as dirty as he was. And so he saw, his goal was
It's
to
just
get in the
subconscious.
house.
All people, Black or white, are preconditioned to think women with whiter skin are more innocent and worthy of protection. That's just a fact. But Spottom, I never said that woman was ugly, but I haven't seen you jumping off the porch to defend Black women who aren't ugly, who get called these things. So I'm just saying, it seemed like there's a different set of standards. It seemed like you jump off the porch a lot. Like, everything that's true about breaking that's positive, you got to get it said in the chat. I ain't really seen you do that for no Black women. Maybe you have, and it's just be in the scummy places I don't go. But I noticed. You know what I'm saying? I noticed.
And Spottom,
I heard a nigga like, Dr. Nikki is married. She does have a PhD. And I don't mean to just make it about Nikki. I'm not trying to start no shit between them. But you done seen better, badder bitches get dogged worse and sat back kikiing and adding on to this shit. So Let's be clear.
Well, my thing is, I'm not gonna even say that she's ugly. What I'm gonna say is that she is not as beautiful as the black women that I've seen in this sector.
I
For
agree.
for
I
for
never called her
men,
ugly, but right, she
right?
ain't right.
For men to jump out the window and favor her over the ones that are. There are some very nice looking women. Now you may not like the way they, their delivery or the way they talk or whatever else. However, there are some very beautiful women in this sector. They're very and it kills me because some of these men, and I'm not saying the ones in the chat, they mom don't look as good as half of these women in the sector. So for them to talk bad about any type of woman, weight wise, size wise, hair wise, they need to definitely reevaluate. But then again, we kind of slide into the manosphere a little bit too, because some of the manosphere, some of these men have mommy issues, of course. So it's a lot of things
Yeah.
going on there with them. I typically don't take them seriously, and I'm gonna tell you why, Carrie, because you know for a fact that some of these dudes you wouldn't even talk to, you give them your phone number. They couldn't even walk up to you on a good day. They don't know what a gentleman is. I consider them males until they show me that they're men. I don't really socialize with males because I raised some males and I'm raised one into a man, and I'm raising another one into a man, and it's just the behavior. So you gotta understand that they can like who they want to like. I don't
Yeah.
care about that because at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't even give them a look.
Well,
I,
this conversation is just like everything else these colorist bitches pull, is a response to them doing this campaign. Me and you both, unlike them bitches, have way better shit to talk about and think about. I'm speaking on it because it's interesting, but can't no man tell me I'm ugly. Like, that's just not a thing. Can't no man tell me I'm a prostitute. Could nobody tell me I was a bad daughter. Like, these shits ain't even up for debate in my sub. You know what I mean? So it's just, I feel you. It don't matter to me or bother me none, but I'm still gonna like comment on the patterns and the type of shit these people are saying and doing.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with voicing and voicing what you see or what your opinion is or what you analyze or you logically, we having a discussion. But my discussion was, and I take it back, is that there are people in the sector saying that Nikki is not proud of who she is and the complexion of her skin. And that
That's so
is
ridiculous.
and that is far from the truth, because when I first did her image, she said, "You need to darken me up." And I wish I had that conversation. And so I had to go back and I had to literally find something that will make her tone come in. And I remember, and I don't know if Money remembers this, but I did Money to Burn, and it was really easy to do her
Yeah.
because she is that skin tone.
Right.
And so if I use I use the same program to do it with Nikki, it made her the same tone as Money to Burn. And so that's where, I think that's where Nikki was like, "Hey, can you do me?" So when I did Nikki, and like I showed on the screen, I made Nikki the complexion that she is, and she was very satisfied with that. So for somebody
I mean,
like,
I feel you, but I don't feel like that's worthy of that level of,
yeah,
because the thing is, Dr. Nikki like teaches at HBCU. She is a black doctor lady who
yeah.
did research in the black arts. I don't really feel like no biracial whore is nobody to be talking about whether or not Dr. Nikki is a proud black woman. Like, you play with shit and blood for a living.
Yeah.
You a fucking hot wife, and you want to talk about respecting yourself and your heritage? No, that's not a discussion I'm even willing to have.
That's not a hot wife. That's a hot hoe. Now, is it okay for me to speak on black women's issues, even though I'm not a black female?
Well, you can have opinions about black women issues, but at the end of the day,
Hmm.
right, it's up to us to decide that if we're going to co-sign to it or not. So you can talk about black women issues all day you want to, but if we disagree, or like I said, we're not monolithic. So some black experiences are different than others. Some
Mm,
black, like a lot of things that people don't know is, Nikki was part of fraternity, and the fraternity that she was part of, those women are assertive and carry themselves exactly like she does.
mhm,
And the thing about it is that they wouldn't know that because they don't know too much about the black experience when it comes to HBCUs, when it comes to fraternities, that group of people that come together. And then you have the people that are like anti people that are educated or professionals in the sector versus the people that just got a regular high school diploma. And the thing about it is, I don't think that a person should have to adjust their conversation to figure out what grade level or comprehension level that you are at. You know, if they say most of America reads at an eighth grade level anyway.
mhm.
But when you look at the black community, is less, especially the poor.
I think it's really cruel. I think it's a really cruel attack for a biracial woman to not only accuse but mock black women who do bleach their skin when she knows that those black women are just trying to get access to the type of privilege that she has. And that she even dangled that privilege in front of T Pre's face, trying to trick her into some filthy work. So even if Dr. Nikki, like I said, is the conversation about her hating her blackness is just too dumb for me to even engage in. But if there were a black woman in the sector who did bleach her skin, that is a conversation for black women to be having amongst each other. It's really inappropriate and insensitive and out of pocket for a biracial to jump in a conversation about skin bleaching to shame an unambiguously black woman.
I'll take that a little bit further and say that is not only is it sickening, it's sickening for a person who has never experienced a black experience, because there's difference between a just a biracial person, but what about a biracial person who's never experienced what it's like to live or to to deal with just being a black person in general, right?
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, Chicago is very segregated. So that when I was going to school, everybody looked like me unless there was like a few Puerto Ricans, and I think I showed a couple of people in the sector a school, just to show them what that was like. And when I was growing up in Chicago, it wasn't nothing about black or white. It was like we was
Yeah, it
just
was no white
all
people around, period.
right. It was no
Point
white
blank.
people around, period. So we were so pro black. We had the black experience.
Yeah.
Our dolls were black. I don't. When I seen them do that doll test where the girls were picking
The
the
light
white
skin.
doll,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
wouldn't have never been us because we grew up in Chicago and that's all that was around us was black.
Yeah.
Our TV shows were black. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it
Yeah. There
is,
weren't even any biracials in our neighborhoods.
right, there was no biracials where I was from either.
Yeah.
So growing up, I
Chicago is
don't
black.
right, I don't know what it's like to pick something that looks different from me, and then when I had sons, I sorry, my dog is worse than yours. When I had sons, right, my I always went out to give them things that make them look like them, like Little Bill,
Yeah.
like there was a TV show, Quincy, where there was a character named Quincy on the TV show, and he was and my kids always migrated to people that look like them because I wanted them to understand that being them was okay, being dark skin was okay. But we don't sit around talking about, hey, that light skinned person. No,
No,
we
of
don't
course
do
not.
that.
Right, we're not, because that's not how colorism works. Bitches trying to
Right.
play with our brains, play in our face like we stupid, but that's not what colorism is. I want to bring it back to the sector a little bit though.
Okay.
So these these several biracial women, I want to point out like how you brought up Money to Burn earlier and how you did a
Okay.
picture with her and the camera worked better with her because she's fair skinned, right?
Right.
But Money to Burn, she usually sweet. She's cussed a few people out. She ain't never got on the panel and called a black woman ugly or dirty though, right?
No.
Because even though she's fair
Mm.
skinned, she clearly is black and she grew up around black people. And for example, even if she never had her skin come up different in a picture, you know she done took enough pictures with black people
Mm-hmm.
to where she know it's a black thing to know how cameras be betraying our skin. So just the fact that you don't know that cameras be turning our skin dark and light to a unrealistic hue, that proves right there that you're not black culturally.
Right.
Because if
But
you were black, you would have known that. Even if you were fair skinned, you would have been around enough black people. So just the fact that you don't know that black women look light in one picture and dark the next, to where you're gonna accuse them of bleaching, that proves how little contact you've actually had with actual black people.
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
I would like to put, I would always, I know that Alan always talks about foundational black and the scales, but I always would like to put, I never had time to do it, and I told him about this, but I would always like to put context on that, because what it is that the more Caucasian features that you have, the way you're treated like a little bit better, right? Versus with darker
No,
features,
it's when
and
you're light
yeah.
skinned, mean black girls just start picking on you.
And Anti was one of the people that came out, man, when Dr. Nikki first got here. A Mess behind the scenes was over, well, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes was trying to downplay this lady's PhD, man. You're talking about now. I suspect that
And bigging up a
A
shit
Mess is,
peddler.
yeah, I expect A Mess is not a black person, not a light skinned black person, and not a biracial black person. I suspect she's a non-black. Period. And the thing is, yeah, it was easy for her to come and do that. So there was something else that got said. The rest of that stuff, people. It
She
was
is
easy for
non-black
people to
as your
come,
care mate.
huh?
She's non-black as your care mate.
Well, yeah, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man. But the thing is, I'm able to recognize a non-black person. A lot of people aren't. There's
I
people
know
have a
that's how
hard
you
time
pick.
with it.
That's when you pull out that chart, see if they pass the test.
Hey, people can't. Some people don't have a baseline for what black is. Anything can be black, and we got all kinds of names for it. But
No,
I
you
do,
make that chart so
I
you can
do
pick out,
recognize,
yeah, who
who is black and who is not black. And if you are not black and you do not look
be a care mate.
like 195 or undeniably black, you will not have the black experience. And look, what is the black experience as
Do
far
you
as we're
eat
concerned?
kimchi?
What is the black experience as far as we're concerned in this place? It is mistreatment. That's what being black is about here. Not just mistreatment, but being the most mistreated out of any other group of people. That's what the black experience is. Yeah, I eat
and
kimchi. Hell yeah.
and the thing about it is that raising black boys, I've seen it. I've seen the differences. I've seen things, the way my child has been treated, and how I have to stand up on every, and then they're shocked when you are educated. When it's bad when your son has to tell them what their parents do and they're shocked. Is it, or the other parent, is he a coach? Because he's black. You're right. So you
Mm.
can't be doing something that's really very mentally or intensive. But what I don't like about AS is, or AMS, or is that
There you
she's
go.
going after black professionals. Like, if she had an issue the way black people act on the internet, right? Why wouldn't she come out with ways to, hey, this is how you should carry yourself on it. This is how I believe, even though we disagree, how we should carry ourselves because we're black. No, not that. She's like, this black person shouldn't even be in this part of in this type of work. This black person, and that's what it comes off. It comes off as a woman that is anti-blacks,
Yeah.
knowing that we have to work 3 times harder to get where we are. Not
I would
only
be just as offended if she was targeting black blue collar workers too, though. But yeah,
right.
you're right. The fact that she has a profile of the people she targets is just so creepy. If it was mothers, if it was black anything, it's just the fact that she has a kink for a specific type of black person is so creepy.
Yeah, and it's just like with me, I've experienced I when I moved to Arizona at the time, I'm coming from Chicago and we're having race riots in another state. I lived in a state where they didn't even have a Martin Luther King holiday yet
Yeah.
until we came. And the thing about it is, it's like not only do I experience a little bit of, racial discrimination like this, like how come you don't act like this black person? Why don't you roll your head when you talk? Oh, but I also experience age discrimination in a way because I look fairly young for my age. And imagine going to a bank, not being black too, and going to the bank, and the ladies at you have your card, your pen, and the ladies asking you for your ID because she's not sure that you have this amount of money in your account and this is your account. Age discrimination, I've experienced that, not only being just a black woman, but white women. you know, you look very young for your age. Are you, like, am I sure I'm the age that I am? you know? So, not only that, so, for a person to get up on here and try to minimize our experience of being black by making it about them
Yeah.
is very
Like if
disturbing.
anybody should be complaining about it, it's us, and we're not complaining about it. So where do you get off? And I wanna talk about the motivations of these women. We all know, and again, I don't entertain foolishness, right? Everybody
Mhm.
knows that we're not colorists. Everybody knows it's all type of light skin, and I mean, eyes look kind of exotical to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all type of mixed women and light skinned black women we rock with. So I'm not even about to entertain that foolishness, right? But I
Hmm.
do believe these women are showing their own white privilege because just like Scarlett, if it's not for colorism, I don't know what could possibly make that woman think she is on tier with me to compete with me or come at me in any way. Her boring, bland. I don't know. If it's not her light skin, I don't know what she thinks she got to come at me. But
Well,
let me finish this point.
okay, go
I
ahead.
think that I think that the fact that they expect some of these, especially dark-skinned black men and women, gas them up so much, they fetishize these biracials so much that these biracials expect to come into the black community and be put in a place of privilege that they couldn't get over on their white side. So just like some of these bitches' white mothers, they come in here with white woman energy, expecting to be able to disrespect and make colorist comments and have niggas like Spot cape for them and defend them if they pull out a beige ass tear. And how do I know this? And it's like what I was saying about Scarlett from the beginning. Um, it is not a coincidence that anti-Afro Svengali is here. It's not a coincidence that these people come here just to say colorist shit to black people. And that's why I think they're actually here. And I was really disgusted when Miss T. Pre and some other people tried to encourage me to bow down to Scarlett because that's just the way she is. And again, you might let biracials talk to you like you a dumb bitch, but I don't. Especially not in my own fucking house. I'm not gonna be in no black space and take shit off no biracial who just targeted me because she feel her being annoyed is a fucking me problem.
And I
Like she looking
always
like the fucking white woman who raised her.
And I always said that if you don't like that person, why don't you block them from yourself? But at the same time, I wanted to talk about a little bit what Beautiful Bernice said.
Go.
So Stargate was on here, even though, and I'm gonna say it here and I'm gonna say it out loud, Stargate has low emotional intelligence, and that is what it is. But for her to sit on a panel and be calling black
And low
women,
regular intelligence, respectfully.
right, calling black women black nigger bitches, right? That's what she said, right?
Oh, she
Black,
throwing nigger in it now too with the
right?
R.
She's
Oh God.
throwing,
But
yeah,
that's
she's
how they
throwing,
expect to be able to, and it's these niggas who pander to them. Go off, Joe. I'ma shut up. But yeah, that's what they expect to be able to do. Right, right, go.
right. So they're sitting on there kiki, and the only thing that they could think of is that she's going after people that they don't engage with or they have a problem with. But they don't understand that when she falls out with them, they'll call their mom a black nigger bitch. So she'll be dating a black man one day, and the mother, the son is close to the mother, loves he loves his mother. His mother is just protecting his son and saying, why is this girl? And the next thing you know, your mom is a black nigger bitch.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And they're sitting over here thinking like, this is the internet. This is, she just saying this. She,
Yeah, and it's black, especially, and I noticed in my time, especially, it seemed like the darker skin a black person is, the more subservient, in general, obviously, in general, the more subservient and the more disrespect they'll take off of these type of colorist, exotical bitches. I noticed that trend,
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Keeper said it. She said, she didn't just say that. She said black low class nigger bitches. And that's exactly what she said. And I'm telling you, the day that, like I said, we can do the bank account, bank account challenge. And I
Don't do that.
swear,
These niggas will be hitting you up. They'll be hitting you up.
And I swear that girl need to sit down somewhere. See, the thing about it is that Stargate.
Then she'll start, your money don't make you classy. Your
money
don't make you classy. Being an uneducated masseuse that talks to everybody's husband in the middle of the night, that's how you show class.
Hey, hold on. Shout out to all the masseuses out there. Shout out to all the masseuses. Yeah, I got respect for all of y'all. Go ahead.
But the thing, thing about it is, like I said, if my husband couldn't sleep good at night, right, she would be on the phone with him talking. But then let me, being married, flirt with any man, and I'm just the lowest class woman on the planet because I'm out here flirting with men. And how could I do that because I'm married, but you sitting on the phone at night talking to a married man?
Well, not to mention she fucked somebody from the sector who don't claim her and be going on the show talking about he think he love her and they gonna be together one day. This nigga ain't claimed her not once.
Well, what's your husband gonna do when we get married? Now me, you, and T Pre got a spiritual wedding coming up. Now, if you thought you wasn't getting dogged out, you will be when that happens.
Listen, I'm seconding nobody, but let me just say this: my husband will say, "I don't know where you gonna live, where you gonna stay, but is he rich? Because I'm gonna play the wounded man card. I'm gonna sit on the say I can't eat, I can't sleep, so you gotta be rich." For him, you know what I'm saying? For me to go anywhere, you gotta be rich. That's what he said. So
that sounds like some Danny type stuff, man. Send you out to do the dirty
work for your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you keep a woman faithful. Get her good and rich.
Man, that's what I told him. I said, listen, you cheat on me, she better be rich because I'm gonna play all. I'm gonna play. I can't eat, I can't sleep. I woke up a happy home. Just give me about, I could flip it. Just give me about
I can flip it.
You gotta pay him to get rid of them, right?
Yeah.
Hey, look, I want to make this statement too. When it comes to colorism, I have to make it very clear. As far as I'm concerned, not nobody else. Colorism for me is amongst black people. Okay, that's where the colorism takes place. When I'm talking about not black people doing some shit, that ain't colorism for me. That's racism, aka anti-blackness. So, which are one and the same.
And I just had to get that out. I had to actually, when Alan kept saying anti-blackness, some of the people in the sector probably misunderstood what he was saying because I had to do research on that, and there is a anti-blackness movement, and it's called anti-blackness and racism. And what it was saying was that it was talking about people going against black people and who are anti-black people. And so it's like a whole bunch of research.
Just targeting like black, what you would call black racist, if there was such a thing.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a real thing. It's just that, at some point we should make it into a show or contextualize, make it into
That's a
context.
whole conversation. Yeah.
Right, that's a whole conversation by itself, because there is a such thing as non-anti-blackness, or that whole blackness movement, and it's real, and they've been studying it for years.
You know what
Alan,
else is real? What's real is that you don't ever catch non-black people with as many fucking words for not them as we have. You can go whether they're non-blacks or white, whether they're Asian, whether they're so-called Hispanic, whatever you want to call them. I have not seen, and if somebody else can find
nobody
these
has
words,
as many monikers as us anyway,
yeah,
because we're
yeah,
the black.
I've never. We don't have as many words. These people don't have any words for that. They got a word called "not me," right? So anyway, that's what I'm looking. Non-white, non-Asian, non-nothing. They don't. The lines don't get blurred for these people. That's where the scales come in. That's
if we're gonna have that conversation. I did want to correct something you said earlier. Well, I want to challenge something you said earlier, Alan.
I know.
And this is but it's a good, well, maybe it'll do you some good. I don't know. But if we're gonna have conversations about things like this is something I actually had to say to Flacco before. And I don't mean to I want to say this, that this is something, this idea some people have, that you need to stick to the dictionary definition of words, and that's what the words really mean, is a misunderstanding of how language works.
You think I did that?
You actually said that earlier. That
no. Listen. This is what I said. Let me explain it, guys. Let me stop. Carrie, just, you know what? Here's the thing. Let me explain this thing, because for some people, I feel like I don't have to break it all the way down, but I will. I'll do it for you. Here it is. We've seen all of the effort that people that have a dictionary have put into making that, right? We've seen all the effort that people that have a DSM-5 have put into making that. When it comes to us, I am giving Black people, I'm saying you have the liberty to look out at the world and define it based on the phenomenon that's going on in front of your face. I said, I call it truth. In other words, that which is, okay? Because most of the words that we use don't have definitions that define them correctly, and anti-racism being one of them. And that's one of the reasons why every Black person that you find out here can run around and tell you that everybody practices racism. Now, if we base that on the dictionary definition of racism, then that could be a fact. I'm telling you that racism is not practiced by a group of people classified as Black. Now, colorism can come into that. We can do that. We can do the who's light skinned, who's not, based on the system that we live in. We do not practice racism. Black people cannot and do not and have never practiced racism. So I'm all in favor of you creating new definitions. So please, when you talk about what I say, stop with the propaganda and spit the shit the way that I said it.
I'm not
do
giving
that for me.
We're having a conversation. I said what I thought you said.
I've had this conversation so many times, and it would be clear if you listen to those conversations.
Wait. Here, here's the mediation.
I'm fine with what he said. That's fine.
Okay.
I just want to get to my original point. Yeah, that's there's
okay.
some energy. I feel it, but I'm not. It's fine. Back to what I was saying.
We got it. You're not feeling it. I got a non-Black mate. You're not feeling it. So what? Are you going? How many times are you gonna say the shit? Either what I'm saying is true or false.
What are you talking about?
No, he was
about the dictionary.
She was okay. Hold up. She was joking when she said the care mate thing, because you always say care mate. So I don't
care. I don't give a shit what y'all think about care mate. And I saw what I think I saw what YM said. So let me clear something else up. Care mate didn't come from a radio show. It didn't. What she's talking about is the Cows podcast, the context of white supremacy, right? It didn't come from that. Care mate came from the code book itself, the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept for victims of racism, white supremacy. All right, that's where it came from. That's where greater confinement came from. So when it comes to YM has definitely made a habit out of propagandizing, or basically just lying about things that I've said altogether. If you want to know the root, I can show you the root of where a lot of my philosophy comes from, but I don't use the term non-white anymore.
Right.
I feel like it's been a whole temper tantrum had, and I just kind of want to get my point off.
I think there's the defensive mechanism. So
yeah, and let's
bring it back.
Let's bring it back. I just want to get back on track with what I was trying to talk about.
Go ahead.
All right.
You're gonna be apologizing to me like P one day. Watch.
Perhaps. You still got a Chinese care mate though, right?
No.
What race is she?
What race is Asian? Nationality is Korean.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So just as long as everything's accurate. All right. So The thing about, and you did say to me yesterday, and it might not be word for word, I'm not a fucking stenographer, but I had said something about the definition of a word and you interrupted me. I said you were playing semantics and you interrupted me to say dictionaries do matter and the truth matters and you need to use the words accurately. And again, I had the same conversation with Flacco. If you're going to discuss things, particularly sociological concepts like race, dictionaries only have something called a denotation. That is something that is going to be enough to help you understand a sentence that you're reading and that you're unfamiliar with. It's often not, even if it is accurate, right? It's not specific, it's vague. And when you're going to be talking about things, there are actually texts beyond dictionaries where they define words like these. And so normally it is arguing semantics. If you haven't laid down an operational definition at the beginning of a conversation or a paper or a discourse, like when I say Black, I mean this thing, because there's context. Black doesn't always mean the same thing to different people. Regardless of what scale you use, you need to be clear, right, about what definition you're saying. And if you're not agreeing on that, it is what you call a debate about semantics, which is largely a waste of time. So just because you looked up something in a dictionary, it doesn't mean that what you're saying is accurate, especially not in context. That's
Well, I
not what
agree.
dictionaries
I agree that everything in the
Okay, then maybe
dictionary
you should let me
is
get
not.
it off instead of all that other shit. Yeah.
I agree that it's not absolutely accurate. I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for Black people defining the world in the terms that they see fit, because Black people are what? They're the most victimized on the planet. So guess what? You have every right to do that, because something that we're doing is not correct. Like I said, take the DSM-5, for example. You've got this book, you got this diagnosis, right, for Black people. And you've only had a handful of Black therapists come through that could actually speak to anti-Blackness. I think that when we go to sometimes these mental health providers and things like that, we don't have people that are coming from a base that these people have been victimized by a system of anti-Blackness for this long.
They actually do now have therapists that are coming from the place of anti-Blackness, and they are understanding what anti-Blackness is. You just can't go in the world and just say, I'm going to pick that therapist.
Right. But I like Akbar. I like Dr. Bobby Wright out of Chicago. I do Dr. Wilson, and work that she did. Some people disagree with it, but she had some genius work that she put out there.
Right.
I know she was. That's what I don't agree with as far as me and her are concerned. Yeah. Right.
All right. So I'm gonna let D Darrell speak. And we're gonna keep it cool. We're gonna keep it light over here. Okay. This is the chat sector.
If y'all get the fussing, I'm gonna hop off.
this is not everybody else. Okay, now go ahead, D Darrell.
Well, Josephine, thank you. I definitely wanted to come up since people were speaking on my name. I felt it was and I'm entitled to some means of speaking for myself. Now, the discussion in regards to the things that I have said about and it being perceived
going in and out. You're going in and out, D Darrell. Let's see if you can fix that.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Really? I hear him clear.
That's better. That's better.
Okay. So in regards to that, in anybody that has known my persona on YouTube and know me not a colorist. Anybody that knows me personally and so forth, no anti-Blackness. I am pro-Black. I always have been pro-Black. Always has been.
Hold on. What is pro-Black? I hate to interrupt. What is pro-Black? Somebody break that down for me.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Alan. When you start dating Black women, then we can have that discussion.
Wrong. Come on, man. So stop throwing up logical fallacies. See, that's the thing. You can't get off that. I'm asking you to define something you said. What is pro-Black,
me, brother?
What is pro-Black?
Interrupted me. Date a Black woman for Black things you can do.
That's got nothing to do with the question.
Date somebody in your race.
That's got nothing to do with the question.
Wait.
Am I going to be able to talk? Let me know when I can talk.
Okay, well, that's a low blow. We want to.
Yeah, see, that's all. Yeah, topic. Exactly.
Wait. No,
exactly.
I'm part of being
exactly
pro dating and mating and procreating with someone that reflects who you are.
Listen,
That's
having
fundamental.
discussions about
No,
things that
no,
you're
no,
saying out
no,
of your mouth has nothing
no,
to do
no,
with what I'm
brother.
doing.
Listen. And I'm saying this, Josephine,
Joe,
because
you don't think that's a fair question?
Right, that is a fair question. So
Okay.
Darrell was on the part that I was kind of like getting him to say. So go ahead and say
and see
that part, but don't.
and that is part
Yeah.
of what we are actually witnessing, the epitome of anti-blackness from someone who claims to is credible to speak on the DSM-5, who wants to talk about the scales, but at the end of do certain things outside of his community. You see, that has been indicative issue within the black community of people who claim to be for the black community. In our fairness of reality, they choose to do things that are anti-black. Tell you
Well,
what you should be doing in the community,
mhm.
as far as doing positive, promote the community. Now,
Okay, so
when it comes to the colorism situation, okay, I look at how I was raised based in the culture and the community. I grew up in Louisiana that has a percentage of light-skinned people. I don't look at lighter skinned people as being exotic or anything, because I know people family that are lighter than breaking the culture, and they have two black. I look at all black people, whether you are, if you have at least, I consider you a black person. Now that's my personal opinion. It's not anybody individually can believe whatever they want, because there have two black parents that look lighter and look more European than breaking the. And I can show you receipts of that.
Agree
So
100%.
so when someone is in that manner, I base them on their value system, their behavior with black people in relation to how they interact with white people. My historical uh, uh, shows that I don't see ambiguous looking black people being than non-ambiguous looking black people. I've seen them call the N-word. I've seen them. I've seen people that are seen in that particular way. I've seen people lose their jobs and other different things, called different names, made the same way. But also when we're looking at these,
Wait, you think biracial women get treated the same as black women, D. Darrell? You think they're treated the same?
Women who are basically with classic African features are not necessarily treated the same, but they're both not being treated good. That's
what you're trying to
issue.
Okay. Yeah. What he's trying to do is base his thing on.
Brother, let me.
Can I finish? She hotter than the baddest black woman. These bitches be getting treated. They could be the most busted looking biracial bitch on the planet, and it's niggas that will hop off the porch swinging for them. Come on, D. Darrell. I'm gonna let you speak your speech, but I'm
no. Hey, look, man. He's basing this whole thing off of white and non-white, and that is not the paradigm on the planet. It is not white and non-white.
I would like to have the ability to give a response.
All right.
You haven't even answered what pro-black is, Joe, and I would dare you to hold him to the question.
Wait. I think D. Darrell answered it by saying pro-black means a person that will date in his race, marry in his race. What else did you say? Help
and
people
conform with the race,
right?
itself.
And just be all throughout the race. So that was his definition.
Okay.
Now, as for Alan and his caremate situation, is this: I heard Alan say, "Listen, don't, my situation. I get it. However, don't, I'm saying that I'm not saying that what I'm doing is part of, everything that's pro-black. I am agreeing with everybody when I say this is, pro-black is what it is. Being black is what it is, regardless of my choices.
That's not what I'm saying.
You
What I'm
didn't say
saying,
But
that.
Josephine,
You didn't
I
say
have
what
a
I'm
that.
saying
question
as
to
He
far
likes
as
ask.
to say
pro-black
that's
is
not
this.
what I
If
said,
we're going to
gang.
talk about
That's not what I'm
I
saying.
thought you were talking about
Pro-black
it
is
was
choices
a
this.
fair break.
based on
No,
color
no,
Pro-black
is
is
valid.
not
wait.
mistreating black people. That's my definition of
Oh,
pro-black.
right. So
Not mistreating
pro-black,
black people.
right? But you were
Yeah.
saying that regardless of the care mate that you have,
Mm-hmm.
you feel that as long as you're not mistreating black people, right,
Mm-hmm.
that you're pro-black,
No,
regardless of who you date. Is
I
that
don't
true?
use the term pro-black. I don't even use it.
Well, you know what I mean. You're
Mm-hmm.
being. What's the term you use?
My
What's the
term
term
is
you use?
not mistreating black people. That's all I say. Because
Right.
pro-black
So,
is really not a pro-black. I mean, like I say, that's not a thing, and especially for people who can't even
It's
define what a black
not a
person is.
thing
He
right.
because
So,
you
justified
So what
it.
I
choose not
say,
to be.
He
You
justified
you
it.
hate
but
you don't
not
value
practicing
black women.
anti-blackness
That's the
is about
problem.
as pro-black.
Value
Look,
black
but see,
women.
what once again, Joe, this is
You
what we're
don't
doing is
you
we're
don't
throwing up
respect
straw men.
them.
It
You
makes
choose
no
not to
difference.
date them.
but
Then
I think
It makes
you
no
are a
difference.
fraud,
If
Alan.
what
You
I'm saying is
hate black
correct,
women,
if what
Alan.
I'm saying is true,
Just
okay.
admit you hate black
Okay.
all
women.
D-Rail
Wait,
wanted to
wait,
do was get
Aside,
up here and
Alan.
argue with
He don't
somebody.
hate us,
That's all he
D-Rail.
wants
He
to
just
do.
think
he
for
don't.
him we
He
do our
don't.
better.
He
Listen.
hate black women.
I
No, he
don't.
just
How
think
can
for
you
real
even
we're
say
doing our
make it
You
sound
better.
like
hate
that?
He
black
admits
How do
that
you
he
women,
know
thinks
that?
white
Alan.
racists
D-Rail,
are
where's the
treating
proof
us
that you hate somebody? Racism, anti-blackness is proof of hate. Where
You
is the
are
hate at?
anti-black. You're
Okay.
Where,
participating
D-Rail,
in
I
an
didn't
act to
talk
exploit
about Carrie's
a black
features.
woman.
I didn't talk about
That is
Carrie's natural hair.
anti-blackness
You did that.
in itself.
Oh, hold
Even though
on.
you supposedly are married.
I muted everybody. Y'all are muted. Okay. Let me have the floor. Okay. D-Darrell, you are entitled to your opinion to believe that what you define as anti-blackness is what it is. Alan's saying that he does not believe in the philosophy of anti-blackness because in his mind, blackness is as long as you're not mistreating black people, then you are practicing blackness, period, regardless of who
There's
you're
a
with.
contradiction.
Right.
There's a because Alan has exercised his right to choose to, in any way, benefit somebody that is not a black woman.
Right.
So that's
However,
that is not getting or gaining
however,
because of Alan's choice.
but
Hold
however,
on, we're not going to discuss me like I'm not here. I'm gonna
No,
speak to
but
that.
you brought
right,
my name up.
but listen, but you don't know what type of Asian woman he's with because they're Asian women of different
But that Asian woman.
However, right? But here's the thing.
A man with no care mate at all can't sit up and
To a
tell me
black
about my care mate.
woman. I
A
have a
person with
black
nobody can't tell
woman.
me
You
about a care
don't.
mate. See, that's what I'm
I
saying.
have
Look,
a
watch this, Joe.
black woman.
How can you talk about a care?
You
No, you
don't,
don't. You got a
Alan,
mistress
you
in
don't
Dallas that
value
you go
black
see. You got a mistress
Alan,
in
you
Dallas that you go see. Are
don't
you
value
cheating on
black.
your care
You
mate,
would have a
D-Rail?
black care mate
Are you cheating on your
that
care
would be
mate?
benefiting from your
If you're
resources.
cheating on your care mate, you can't talk to me
love,
about my
you
care mate.
don't, Alan.
You
Alan,
can't do that.
I know it's
You do
hard,
not
Alan.
have a
I know
woman
you're
in that
guilty.
house. We have looked at you, man. You don't. You're not married to it.
Come out.
All right, see, y'all getting muted again. We're not going to personalize this anymore. You guys are moving away from the topic. Agree to disagree. We're not going to do. Y'all want to go back and forth about each other's care mates and whoever else. Y'all could do that on that panel because if I wanted a panel like that, I definitely would be doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Out of here. Go. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna do this. I'll do this on my show. And sorry about that. Yeah, have a good time.
I will too.
Have a good fucking time.
Y'all man.
And I'm gonna say, I want to say this, Joseph. I didn't come here to blow up.
I know because I didn't want it to be.
I didn't come here to blow up the panel. I can't self because he brought my name up in regards to me participating in coloristic act. He didn't have to bring my name up.
And then Carrie Ann corrected him and said what she said, and you didn't hear that part because Carrie Ann was there, and only she can say what she experienced being on your channel. Now, I had to mute everybody because at the same time I'm the host and I like to do all the talking. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So, D Darrell, listen. I know that you feel that you're pro-black, but I feel like the argument that you're having with him is personal because you feel like because he has a non-black woman that he can argue for black women, which he has been arguing for black women
He
because
can't. He can't.
wait a minute, his
He
mother's
can't.
black, his
See,
sister's
see,
black,
So
his cousins. But
that
listen,
doesn't mean that
but
that
it's the thing like
that
this.
doesn't mean
he ain't
anything
choose his
because there's
mother. He chose his
tons of
ear mate.
people.
Right, but if I chose, okay, it's the same as if I decide to chose a care mate that is non-American, right? And then Americans will say, well, they will go in, they'll say that I'm not pro-black. How can I date somebody that is doesn't have the American experience? And then I have to correct them over and over again. But I am very pro-black. I grew
No,
up
let
right.
me finish that analogy for you. No,
Right.
it's not just that you married to a non-American. You on the internet talk about America first.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about America first. You know what I'm saying? I was born here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I
listen,
agree with you. I don't think that Alan can be pro-black and sleep with an Asian
but
woman
I
every
don't.
night. But I do agree with you that he does advocate for black women. I just can't figure out if he's trolling or not.
Right. So he does advocate for black women. He just doesn't
Alan is
believe in.
fake.
Right.
That
Listen, he
is
does.
fake. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, the
Let
thing
her finish
about
her
it
thought,
I
is,
mean,
D-Rel.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say
right.
this, and I listen for myself
I wanted to hear what she had to say.
because my thing is as far as the coloristic thing, I have been victimized by colorism. I was called burnt this, burnt that, anything else, black tar baby, and everything else. So the colorism has been whether you male or female,
Not so
Right.
fast,
dark
D-Rel.
skin.
Not so
That has
fast.
been told to me,
Not so fast. No,
and
not
that's just
so
a
fast.
fact.
Not so
That's just
fast.
a fact.
If you were
If
light
we're gonna
skinned and
talk
you had this
colorism,
color
let's
cheeks, people would still
talk.
call you burnt.
What?
People aren't calling you burnt just because you dark skinned. It's because you have discolored skin on your face. People would. I'm
No,
not.
no. First of all, listen. They call me dark skin. They call
No, they
me
call you
that because
burnt
I
cheeks.
am dark skinned. They've been saying that to this sector. It had nothing to
well,
do with
well,
I
the
don't know about that one.
skin, my skin, and so forth.
you know
But
what?
listen, look, I'm not gonna argue
Is
that.
that
The
the best you got?
bottom
What
line
other
is
colorist
that I
comments?
okay,
Because what
comments
you said about me was
that
colorist.
have
What
been
did somebody say
said
about
about
you,
me
colorist?
that's been said about me for years. That's just a fact. Okay,
Anything else
but
besides burnt cheeks?
All right. I wanted to
okay, so
highlight what I wanted to
okay,
highlight what Keeper said because indigenous, Asian, and Koreans were all black 100%, and that's a fact. Guarantee his mate has black ancestry, which is true. And we could talk about the Indo civilization and the Nubian civilization all day long on another live because that's my thing. Now, what I want to say is, yes, D Darrell,
Everybody has black
D
ancestry.
Darrell, I was calling you cheeks because your cheeks are darker, not because you were dark skinned. I have nothing against your dark skin. Now, there are probably people in the sector who are making colorist remarks because they were trying to get under your skin. And a lot of them were probably as dark as you. And the ones who were saying it was as dark as you. So, and we were talking about Shaquem, all of them, they were as dark as you and they were saying that. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. You're entitled to your opinion, but I only can go by who I talk to, not only behind the scenes, but online. And I'm telling you that his definition of pro-black is not the same as yours because he doesn't believe in the concept of the word pro-black. He just believes that as long as you're not attacking black people or anything that's anti-black, he's against. That's it. That has nothing to do with, he feels that has nothing to do with who he dates, who he chose to be with, or the reasoning behind who he chose to be with. So what I'm saying is that he's entitled to have that feeling and
Nonsense.
entitled to believe in that. Now, Carrie Ann, you will date a black man first, right? You would not, whatever. But at the same time, it's the same thing of you're saying that when you describe certain type of black men, and then people feel like, well, you can't speak on black men because you're not a man, and you're entitled to your thoughts too. And so I am balanced, because the reason why I'm balanced is because I understand that black people are not monolithic, and they depend on where they raised and how they were raised, and where they came from is where their ideology come from. The only thing that we can do is share what our ideology is. So if you're describing pro black D Darrell as somebody who dates within their black race or do all these black things, and everything is in their whole world is black, then that is acceptable, because he could say, well, since I don't believe in it, but if that's how you want to define it, then I can believe that. Now, as Caramate trolling, right? That's a troll move. So the thing about it is, if he decides to call his mate a caramate, listen, we got people in the sector that are hoeing. We got people in the sector talking to married men. We got people in the sector, doing all kinds of goofy shit outside of what we believe is, what we believe. Some people come from two parents, and he's one of them. We all were in, like, the people that was on this panel, including him, we all were raised by two parents. Now, the people that we're up against in the sector were not. And we have to value, we come from those values. D. Darrell was raised by both of his parents. Carrie Ann was raised by both of her parents. I was raised by both of my parents, and so was Alan. And the other thing, Alan comes, from a pastor. So the thing about it is that we have to go ahead and accept each other's ideologies, only even though we don't agree with our behaviors. D. Darrell don't like, how he came at him, and vice versa, and Carrie Ann don't like, the comments, and that's fine, right? At the end of the day,
it's no comments that bother me.
Right, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying, well, when he says caramate, and when he makes those comments, but at the end of the day,
that don't bother me. I just think you sound dumb. And I'll go ahead, finish your point. I'm sorry.
But at the end of the day, we all stand for, and we all can agree on that we are not against blackness. We love our black self. We love black people. We want to see black people succeed in life, no matter what race they, what complexion they are. But the problem that on this is that you have people who are racially ambiguous, and what Carrie Ann called exoticals, who typically understand that the darker we are, the more black features we have, we experience more racism, right? You can tell just by the black woman's hair.
That's what colorism actually is. Thank you.
If you have the curlier your hair is, you get people saying to you, oh, you got beautiful hair. But then on the other end, if you have 4C hair or dreads, you got to have a law for people to hire you for that type of hair in California. So that is the point that we're trying to make. We're out here in the sector talking about people making up storylines, talking about people like me. I'm a brown skin complexion. I'll show you D. Darrell at some point. I'm a dark brown skin complexion female, right? And then you got the darker to the medium light, and you got them saying stuff like
they want to appropriate the struggle. Yeah,
right. Black, you got to have that same. You got to have that
white mothers.
D. Darrell,
like white mothers.
D. Darrell, you got to have that same fire for Stargate when she was sitting on a panel calling us low class black nigger bitches. You
this
get what I'm saying?
Can I comment on that?
Swinging out the clouds.
Yes, you can comment on that.
Okay, so number one,
Mm-hmm.
when Stargate said that, and when she said stuff similar to that on my panel, I told her that wasn't right. I didn't laugh and kiki when she started saying, because she said multiple times, and I'm like, Stargate, stop, that is not right, and so
Right.
forth. I did her. Now, could I have been more intense and more firm with that? But I was not for her as like a racist thing, and as if you're a non-black by saying bees or these black this and that. And yeah, I could have been more firm with that, but by just like laughed or like I didn't think that was funny one bit. That was not funny.
Right. But see, the thing about it is that Deidre, this is what I want to say. And I agree with you because you probably was caught off guard by it, just like a lot of us was, right? But let me just say this. Stargate, we don't know if Stargate has a white parent. We don't know if that's what she heard growing up or that's how she talked to black women. But I tell you this, you being with having a black mother, if Stargate ever gets pissed off at you, and then your mother speaks up on your behalf, she gonna turn around and call your mother a black low class nigger bitch. Do you get what I'm saying? Your sister a low class nigger bitch. That's not something that you just say on the internet and you're
Right.
going back and forth and you want to talk shit to me, like, and say, something. It's different when somebody it calls me slow or whatever. I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I'm saying? Because money, she can't match me with that. She can't match me job, education wise. If we took an IQ test right now, she probably only make it through 3 questions. So I'm just saying, the point that I'm trying to make is that the black men in this sector, typically, just because some of us are outspoken, will allow a woman like that is talking crazy, talking in circles, have a little bit low IQ because of her skin, her fairness of her skin, right? Allow her to say that shit, talk crazy. But if I sat here talking about men and roasting the hell out of them and saying that they was low class, low budget, all kinds of shit, because of my skin tone, they will say, that's another black bitch. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Every
But
black
with
female are
her,
aggressive. That's why we don't
right.
defend y'all.
And
It'll be everything in the world. But for her, it's a giggle and a slap. Right.
right. And then the other thing is that the fact that
She don't know what she's
the
doing.
only reason why we're not jealous of her. There's a lot of women that look better than her. But let me tell you this. We ain't jealous of her because she turned her camera on and showed what she looked like. She only did it to show, to get the man's attention because she knows that that's what she can use. Now, can she use her brain? Can she help a man manage a home? Can she is her credit okay?
I heard she
Can
good on the
she,
phone in the middle of the night.
right. If she can do all those things, what can Star do as a black woman to help help be a helpmate to a black man? What could Star, other than talk to dudes on the phone or call them monog, what does she call them, fucks? Because every married man in this sector, she's disrespect and cussed out. And Kiki, I wasn't laughing. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if she talked to my husband like that, I would have thumped her in her throat. Because my husband can't put his hands on her, but I can.
But see, that's the privilege that they're used to having. And I think women like Stargate and Scarlet and Breaking are always going to fall back on colorism because their light skin, like you said, is really what they have to offer the world. They're boring. You know what I mean? They don't have anything to offer but that. So they're always going to double down on it. And then they're going to play dumb. Do you remember when Scarlet came in my chat to identify herself as a non-black biracial? And
Yeah.
then I went in on her and I had said the day before, them biracial say they biracial until they get called out for being racist. And then all of a sudden they black, they Afro Latina and shit. And the very next day she went on Photon's panel. She erased her comments and went on Photon's panel and said she was a black woman because people have been calling her out for all those dirty anti-black comments. And then, but niggas let them do that shit. And as Black women, I don't feel like it's nothing we can do about it. We just have to wash our hands of it, because it's always going to be a lot of primarily dark-skinned Black men who will jump out the window for them bitches. There's nothing we can do about it. It's white privilege.
Exactly. And so what we're saying, D. Darrell, and what the whole topic was about, I don't know if you came in, the whole topic was about these women like AMS, who is anti-Black, oh, he left, that are anti-Black women, right? Because the Black professional women is going around saying that the Blackest woman in the sector is lightening her skin, and she's not. Somebody like a Ray Triggs decided to put her image in a software that predominantly is catering to white skin tones, and made her skin light, and now that's the story that they want to run with. And
yeah, let the record show that it's the actual Black women who are getting their skin played with digitally, who are getting mocked for the color of their skin, who are getting called dirty, who are getting called ugly by women who don't look as good as us. Like, that's the direction the colorism is actually going in reality.
Right. And then we got a woman who talks about being in a dungeon, a woman that talks about all these perverted things, kink lists, all these things being held to, but let a dark-skinned woman talk about all the nasty, freaky shit they be doing.
And these niggas ain't got a word to say. Right.
Right, but I'll give you an example. Verla was on the panel being all whatever, and they went in on her. Had a photo of her. All of this and that, but
all these thumbnails.
I don't see them running around.
And this woman has admitted, it's come out bit by bit because she a lying asshole. But recently she admitted that her clients come in there to eat shit and drink blood, and she was trying to contract out some cum guzzling. And these niggas are still, but again, I never expected more than that from niggas anyway. I know how niggas pedestalize. We all know how niggas pedestalize fucking exoticals. So again, they can have their pedestal. Like, I'm not coming for them. It's just so funny to me that they also want to play victim to me. And I want to say, I think it's a lot of biracial and exotical women who go around claiming that dark-skinned Black women used to pick on them in school because they were jealous and they cut their hair and they fucked up their face. But they don't ever tell you how they thought they was hot enough to go pick on that Black girl. They'll never tell you they was because the boys had gassed they light-skinned ass up that they thought they could sit back and call that dark-skinned girl dirty or ugly. And when that dark-skinned girl finally beat her fucking ass, then she go crying around saying how they don't like light-skinned girls. When all around the world, all Black women ever be doing is minding their own motherfucking business.
And here's the other thing, and I'm not saying this to cape for them, but light-skinned women know for a fact that they in the middle, that they get it on both ends sometimes. And I agree with that. Sometimes they get it, they don't fit in because they, like I said, they don't have the Black experience. But then again, they don't fit in with the non-Blacks. So they have to find a middle ground or a place, and it's very challenging. I've seen where light-skinned people were picked on because they weren't Black enough.
I'm not saying it never happens, but them trying to
act in this sector,
the light skin is fucking cap. They get privileged, and it's not an oddly specific story. YM, I have heard so many light skinned and biracial exoticals claiming that Black girls picked on them, but me being a Black girl knows that them bitches like to pop off at the mouth because Black boys be gassing them up, and then they get beat the fuck up, and then they turn into white girls. Well, I've seen it many a time.
I had a friend, right? And I'm gonna just tell you how colorism is so deep, right? So I had a friend, right? And my son is like a brown skin. He was brown skin at that time, right? And she went out and she took my son and her kids to go buy little bears at Build-A-Bear. And so all her kids got really light looking bears, and mine got a black bear. And I asked her, I said, why did you pick out a black bear and not a bear that was his skin tone? And she was like, oh, because he's Black. Because now, mind you, she's light skinned. Mm-hmm. And I was very disturbed by what she did. Because I was like, well, Black people come in all different colors. Why didn't you pick out black bears for your kids? Well, they wanted bears that look like them. I said, what made you think my son didn't want a bear that looked like him?
Right. Right.
So I've seen little slick little things that they would do to try to make us, feel less than. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like the anger and the hatred comes from, like, I have a friend who family, the grandmother favored all the light skinned kids and treated the dark skinned kids really bad in the South. I've seen and heard about that. So I know colorism is exists, but in this particular sector, you can't use that experience because you're out here doing stuff to antagonize black women and then turning around using that to say
I
you
think
a
that's what they
victim.
always do, just like white women. That's my argument. I think that is what they do. I think that it's plenty of light skinned people that's good in the hood and good with black people, right? But these women come here to this black space with these black men, expect to be able to check black women and get pedestalized by black men. And when things don't go their way, they turn white. Like, that's what they do, not just in the sector, but in life in general. That's why a lot of people don't like porch sitting ass bitches, because I mean, if you who wouldn't sit there and play both sides, right?
Exactly.
Like, and if you had that option, of course they would. Not every light skinned person does sit around and play with black people like that, but the ones who do, these ones who feel insecure that they need to go around some black people to feel big up and feel empowered, and they the big bad rich bitch or whatever the fuck else, they run amok and they brag about being tough. They black when they tough and tough and tough, but the second a black person responds to them with anything but reverence and deference, the tears come out. They the victim now.
Well, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion and what I've observed over the sector, Scarlett has an issue with black women.
Period.
And if a black woman says something that she doesn't like, or they go against the content creator, that and the content creator makes like a comment and it's a male, she
Yeah.
will
Jump on it.
either block them or
Yeah.
time them out. And she
Yeah.
did that to me because I was in Photon's chat, and Photon was going in on me, like, talking his shit like he always tried to do. And then I came back under another account, and Photon was like, don't block her. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
And
And
I think she's chased black women off of the sector that people never knew it happened. I think that she's done that because
right.
that's what she wanted to do to me. She wanted to actually sit around slapping me and me not be able to say shit back, because she win either way. She win if she blocked me, and if I respond, she count that as a win too. So,
and then, like I said, and we go back to AES making all these colorist statements, right?
yeah.
She's the one trying to let us know that she's light skinned,
Right.
which nobody has seen her, so it doesn't matter what
Right.
she is because no one has seen her. How can you argue
But
who
she
you
wants
are?
everybody to know that she's superior to us in several ways, and she on a nonstop campaign to prove to everybody how much more desirable and better she is than us. It's very
Right.
bizarre.
And the thing about her with professionals, like I said, if she was truly pro black, which she is not, she would understand how hard it is for a black woman and a black man to get the position, to work hard. We have to work twice as hard to get where we are. If she was really pro black, she would have YouTube channels, YouTube content talking about how black people should act in the workplace, and that's her opinion. How black people should carry themselves online versus, this could happen to them. Just trying to educate people how to behave online and offline because of the stereotypes and what could happen with us. No, that's not what she's doing. What she's doing is she's saying these black professionals are on here acting this way, and let me call their job and
Yeah.
let me go ahead and reach out to their job and show them how they behave online. And you're telling me that there's a black Karen hating black people, who achievement. Why not those emails that she likes to send, those troll emails? Why she don't send a troll email saying, hey, I saw how you were acting online, and you should be, I would like for you to be a little bit concerned, because I would hate for you to have to, this to come back and bite you. I've read some things, I'm just trying to help you out. That's not what she's doing. What she's doing out here is causing chaos and confusion and going after people she doesn't like, who disagrees with her, which has nothing to do with anything that she's saying, and it has everything to do with her being anti-black or self-hating black
Because
people.
if she was doing this with Jews, right? If she was doing this with gays, right? These types of emails, like, I think that people would respond differently than after her going after black people.
Right.
If she
And
took it as her, if she took it as her role in life to go catch, she claimed she was going anti-fraud, but all she kept doing was targeting Jewish professionals for cussing and saying things she didn't like on the internet, or gays, or any other. Well, number one, all those communities will have enough respect for themselves to expel this person.
Right. And
From
then
their community.
and the other thing is that she wouldn't be making a whole bunch of content or getting people that are non-professionals, like people who have criminal records, who are viewed by society as the low end, the low hanging fruit of society. This woman is targeting people that she knows have criminal records, mental illness.
And I would say mental health issues. Yes, she's targeting those people. Yeah.
Right. She's targeting those people, right, as they're being the victims but the people that work hard to get where they are, she has a problem with, and she uses the
Well, she
guise
wants to take something away, right? She wants to have something to take away. Yeah.
Right.
Keeper says she thinks she says those degraded terms to get under our skin, talking about Stargate. But my thing is, Keeper, isn't it still a racist attack? Like, if I go into a black community just to occasionally get the opportunity to call them a bunch of dirty faggots, right? Is that not, even if I'm saying it just to quote unquote get under their skin, isn't that still a racist attack?
Keeper says it's hard to combat ignorance. Well, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to combat.
It's just discussing it. Yeah, it's just, I think that's our job, to unpack it and recognize it so it's not affecting our brain subconsciously.
I think that the reason why Stargate acts the way that she does is because she realized and recognized that she's around a group of women who have some form of achievement, who can communicate a lot better than she can, who can carry themselves a lot better. They're high earners, or maybe they have a career, or maybe they're doing something that she can't do. And I think that her issue is internal. She's internalizing it, and she really, really has animosity. I have never heard this in my life. I heard her say she hates 3 people. I mean, people that she's never met.
I heard about that. Yeah, she said she hates you. Yeah.
Right. So that she has, all she has to do is stop following around the internet and stop clipping things that they're saying. But it's
inside of herself that she hates. That's why she can't let it go. It's from the inside, like you said. Yeah.
If somebody hated me that much, right? Or I hated somebody that much on the internet, if I did, I would leave the internet, because the thing about it is, I would never want to engage or go back and forth with somebody that I hate, because I know that when I'm blinded by hate, anything that I say, right, will never be positive to that person. So the thing about it is, for her to say that, Ms. Murphy said, what can we do better to move forward? Well, here's the thing, Ms. Murphy. You can't move forward when you got people who have issues or have problems internally. So, for example, nobody gets along. No, a lot of us don't care for AAS, right? So she still wants to inject herself in places where we are and make videos about people that she doesn't like, and talk and chats about people that she don't like, harass people that she don't like. But no one's doing that to her. And if the day that we start doing that to her,
she by themselves.
Right. So the thing about it is that when you're not accepted in that community, right, or people just doesn't, is not vibing with you in that community, you find somewhere else to go. Or you adapt. And she's not willing to adapt in this environment. What she wants
I
to
think
do
the
is
vitriol
control
that
the
she spits,
environment.
well, we're a convenient outlet for her. It's just like anti-Afro Svengali. These things that they want to say, this is really their internal monologues.
Right.
Right, that they're projecting out onto us. So that's why it's probably more comforting to be able to say those thoughts to an avatar, a person you don't know, and make it about them instead of about you. Right, that's what
And
I
and
assume.
and because like people like Rev G has a severe mental illness where he engages in fuckery, and then the other part of his personality, the other part of his personality is now the victim, right, of everything, because he's being told that he's being victimized, and he's being told that he's retaliating. Like, it doesn't make any sense, because two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not finna retaliate against you because you said something about me that I didn't like, or you disagree with my stance on homosexuality and all this other stuff. I'm not gonna do that. But what he believes, and it's not even normal, is that he should be able to go wherever he wants, say wherever he wants, and if somebody responds to him and he responds back, he's responding to the response back. So that's not even normal thinking. So it's hard to get people to come together if
I don't have no desire to come together with them. And
right.
as for moving on, like, dude, I'll be on my show talking about communism and politics and the shit that be happening to me on my day-to-day life. The fact that these couple of women don't have nothing better to talk about than me and trying to convince people that I hurt them, I mean, that's a them problem. That shit don't have nothing to do with me. I find it funny. And my thing is, at the end of the day, even if they do convince everybody that colorism is something dark-skinned women did to them, then what? So what? So
I
what?
agree,
And
Spano.
I want to say too that hold on. The shit D Darrell said about me was colorist, but I just took all that shit for jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that D Darrell is a colorist. And at the end of the day, somebody making a colorist joke against me is not gonna make me think you less pro-black than a nigga who don't even sleep with black women. And Al is cool, and I know that in his own mind he an advocate for black women, and he done stuck up for me and other black women, so I can't take that away from him. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna tell, even if, and people talk about D Darrell's marriage, people could be separated. It's a lot of things that could be going on in a marriage. At the end of the day, D Darrell married and had children with a full black woman, as far as I know. So no, ain't no nigga who, just because he never said I had nappy hair, gonna convince me he as pro-black as that. I'm sorry.
But let me just say this. How do you know that he's never been with black women and it just wasn't successful? How do
I
you
know
know
that he
that he
didn't choose
doesn't?
a black woman.
How do you know that he wasn't married before to a black woman? How do we know he doesn't have black children? We don't
I don't
know
care.
too
He
much
ain't married
about
to a
him.
black woman now, so I don't
But
see him as being no pro-black advocate. Point
right,
blank.
but I don't think I think that he's just pro black, not coming for black people, period.
I
So
think he's pro-black man.
I think that he's, and then the thing about it is that, like, for me, like, I'll give you an example, right? So, Carrie, what if you had a son, right? And he's a black son, and he goes to college, and he goes to a diverse college. He dates a couple of black women, and then he brings home, he comes home and he says, "Mom, I'm in love with this, this Asian woman. She treats me well. She's really nice. She's not superly aggressive. She's not trying to be black or none of those things. I love her." What would you say? Don't bring home that that Asian woman.
No, I would
He
never
loves
say
her.
that. What I would say to him is, black women have a challenge in finding a husband if they so
Right.
desire to get married. There are so many millions of eligible, beautiful black women looking for marriage that you're never going to convince me that you just happen to run into some magical Korean bitch. That's just not how that works.
Well, I'm
You
gonna.
chose non-black. Let me finish. You asked me. Let me
Okay.
finish. So
Mhm.
my son is not going to tell me that he chose an Asian woman just off of coincidence. That's some bullshit. Number one, you prefer non-blacks and you want to have some non-black kids. And I would accept that, but that same son would not have the right to come in my house talking no black shit. Like, as far as I'm concerned, once you breed out, you need to shut the fuck up. That's how I feel in general, you know?
Well, being a married woman, right? I'm going to tell you this, and you probably going to agree because you're in that same situation, right? A lot of women and a lot of men are not even, they don't understand what marriage really actually is. And what I notice about Black men and Black women, when we get together, we seem to be very competitive with each other in a relationship. And that's kind of one of the challenges of being in a marriage or in a relationship with a Black man and Black women. Because of the oppression that we have felt, we seem very competitive in when it comes to finance, money, what he can, who he can associate himself with, who he can talk to, how much attention that we don't have a really playbook on understanding how to be supportive to each other because of what we've been through.
Okay, so that's why it's
Everybody in the sector, VT knows I'm married. And number
her
two,
husband said hi and everything. She one of the only people we actually believe got a spouse around this bitch.
But the thing about it is that like what I where I educate women about being in a relationship with a man, vice versa, is that Black women, focus on what your man is good at versus what he's not good at. Like I give that kind of information because I've noticed with my female friends, they struggle in relationships or they struggle with dating or things like that. And or they the guy is this, they want to go through his phone, they're worried about where he's at. And I'll say, well, what's in your phone? Well, he can't go, so we're too competitive. I have a friend right now who's married and he's upset because his wife makes more money than he does. And she can go out and buy a car easily. But when she tries to motivate him or give him something, or she says, let's go out to dinner, he's like, well, I don't want to go out to dinner if I can't afford to pay for it. Like, there's a lot of things that go on between us. And so sometimes with like a man, because of the level of oppression we have felt for on both sides, sometimes, I'm not saying all men, I'm not saying the basketball players, I'm not saying none of those. I'm saying sometimes a Black man or a Black woman, because you're seeing a lot of Black women with white men now. And
but again, Black women are usually choosing white men as a second choice because they could not find a Black husband. And that's reality. These niggas could have their pick of beautiful or submissive. And now you want to say the Black woman competes with her man. All right, well, I'm going to just say that if that's, or he competes with her, even if that's true, if a man's solution to that Black people problem is to go non-Black, then you're not pro-Black, because pro-Black means you actually addressing the issues. Right.
Well, here's the thing.
If you're running from the issues, how is you pro-Black?
So let me tell you this. So, Carrie, I have a brother, right, that can equally match you. All right. He is single. He has no kids. He is your age, right? And so why is most of his complaint that when he talks to a Black woman, he goes to the gym, he works out, he works all the time, he likes to travel, he's everything that a woman wants. Okay, but
you happy and no kids. But go ahead.
But when he started dating Black women, he's like, damn, they want a basketball player, they want a thug, whatever. Now that he's older, right?
No, thank you.
Now he's getting chased by all the women with kids. Now he dates a woman and he wants to spend time by himself. And she's talking about she gonna kill herself if she don't call. And he has to deal with all those different things. And then he's like, you know what? I just rather be by myself and just go out and, just hang, do this and this.
Am I your brother?
So maybe. So what I'm saying is that, growing up, because I grew up with a lot of males, like, I don't have as many girl cousins. So I know, my brother's not a cheater. Even though a lot of people will say, all men cheat, that's not true. My brother is definitely not a cheater. He doesn't sleep around with different women. It's just who he is.
I never thought all men were cheaters. I done had men be faithful to me. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is that what if he came up here with his argument and said, well, every time I date a woman, it just seems competitive. So that is kind of like I open up my window a little bit because my
ain't no
first
nigga about
choice
to
is
get
black women.
Nah, let me answer that. Nah, that nigga
Right.
would not get 1 inch from me off no argument like that, because the type of danger I have to put myself into emotionally, physically, financially, to be involved with a black man, and I ain't jumped in no Korean nigga's bed. So I don't give a fuck. And again, I'm not saying nobody owe it to black women to be with black women, but whatever your little issues are with the things you don't like about black women, if you choose to go lay with some other man's woman, then you don't get to tell you a bitch like me. Just if
right, but
go.
So my question is, if it could be a product of his environment because of where he lives too, right? There may not be what I'm saying, there may not be a lot of black sisters. So then he decides to go online. But no. Well, yeah, if you knew where you live, you'd say, yeah, you're right. That's not, but
that's where he chose to live. It's women.
It's not where he chose to live.
Like I'm gonna move to Alaska and then complain.
No, it's not where he chose to live. It's where our parents decided to take us, and he just never left. He never decided.
I thought he was grown.
He is grown. He just never decided. He just never moved. He never found. No, he lived by himself. My brother been working since he was 15. Okay.
Oh, I thought you was talking about Alan.
No, I'm talking about my brother.
Oh, I'm like, girl, ain't that nigga a grown ass man? My fault.
Yeah.
I'm shutting up. I'm
okay. So my brother, like, what if he's telling you? He said, "Listen, Carrie, I love black women. That's my first choice, but I decided to open the playing field a little bit more because this is what I'm faced with. I'm faced with women with a bunch of kids, date extra baby daddies that I don't want to deal with. He's just as picky as you. And then when he gets with a black woman, some of them are acting a little crazy, a little bit too aggressive. It's too competitive.
I don't know why your brother has come to this late age in life to finally want to settle down anyway. I don't know what type of games.
Let me tell you something. My brother always wanted to settle down when he was young and had the name for both of his 2 children that he was going to have. And it just didn't work out that way because of the nature of how women move in his mind. Like, maybe, like I told my brother, maybe if you move out here, you'll see more of us, and then you'll have more options because there's a lot of professional women. And when he comes out here, he's like, damn, compared to where he's at, because he still has this love for black women. But what I'm saying is that, let's say he goes to a university and, the black women are picking basketball players and thugs and whatever else. And he's a lustful man.
All women like athletes. I don't know why they try to put that bag on black women. All women like musicians and athletes.
We're talking about him picking only black women.
Well, let me tell you, if your brother is the type of nigga who sit around crying that women are attracted to athletes and rich men and shit, then I could,
he's not crying about that. What I'm saying is he's very picky when it comes to women, which is why he's still single.
That sounds suspicious to me. I mean, that's your brother. So
you got to talk.
If you believe your brother's so eligible and handsome and he want a long-term relationship, but he couldn't find an eligible sister in all these years.
He was dating, like, the girl that I wanted him to be with. She was a twin and she was a black sister, whatever. But he didn't want to be her rebound,
Yeah, see, he got all types of issues about what he thinks. Yeah, so
and so do you. Listen, you got this. They can't have
shit. But I'm not up here like I didn't never come up here and be like, oh.
He's not going.
I'm scared. I don't want to date a black man because they're all trash. I'm like, no, I got issues. Like, that's the difference.
But he's not going to do that, though. He's never going to come up and say anything. He's just doing him. But I'm just saying,
gonna
from
cry about
outside,
how all these women won't recognize him because he's not a basketball player.
No, don't get it twisted. My brother plays basketball, right? He plays basketball, but you know what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is, my brother is kind of like he's not aggressive, anyway. So he's not really like one of those aggressive men, like, yeah, come here. He's not like that. And so in the area that he lives
kind of
in,
nerdy and shy too?
No, he's not. He's nerdy and shy.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm not trying to hook you up.
Trying to get my attention, you know what I'm saying? You say he don't be harassing women in the street? Go on.
No, he doesn't. Carrie, YouTube it. You might be too much for him.
Man.
Carrie Ann trying to get the
I mean, you saying
the
certain
profile.
things,
But what I'm saying is it could work on both sides. And I'm seeing a lot of women actually, even out here, and the guys that they're dating, but the white guys they're dating, I'm just like, why are they bringing home Billy Bob?
People be getting desperate. Yeah, and I'm not willing to go the desperate route. And I believe you about your brother. I do. I really believe that even if I was a man, I would have a hard time dating because the world is just so material. It's just so many things that's popular right now that I can't vibe with. So I don't doubt that men also have, but I'm a Black woman, so nobody is about to get on the internet or anywhere else and complain to me about their dating pool. Like, oh, is it hard for you? Tell me more about how hard it is.
Well, first of all, he would never do that. He doesn't do that. I'm his sister.
Okay.
And plus, if a crazy girl comes, all he tells them is he has a sister. That's just as crazy. So he don't have those issues. I'm just telling you that right now. so that's how he lives. He's like,
yeah, I guess I can't go for your brother because you crazy from Chicago and you rich. I can't compete with all right.
No, I'm just saying, he just says that to kind of scare him a little bit, but I ain't crazy.
Don't nobody want to risk the wrath of Josephine. Josephine, one of those people who don't really come off like she'll do some shit, like she be giggling, but I know bitches like that. I ain't fucking with Josephine. Because Josephine, we are both from Chicago, and you will notice, like, you ain't heard nobody from Chicago get on the internet and threaten nobody.
Exactly. Yeah,
we don't give people the courtesy of a threat.
We just let them know what it is.
The best we're gonna give you is we gonna be like, repeat what you just said. Like, you just called me a what? Like, what? Okay.
Like I said, some of these women would be on the ground blinking, and I'm like, "Are you okay? You kind of slipped and fell there."
Spotted is saying, "Who you heard from Chicago issuing threats?" Maybe they did. I don't remember it though. That's not something that really be. I wouldn't fuck with nobody like Josephine. Drill rappers threaten folks every day. I'm talking about in the sector. That's music, and I'm telling you, in Chicago, I guarantee you. Gang members do not threaten each other in Chicago. What niggas say when they about to kill you in Chicago is, all right.
Yeah. Drill rapper and
over after, all right. It's all right.
And Spinal, that's a whole different generation. Remember, Millennium generation.
Oh, that's true. I do need to quit pretending like I still live in Chicago. Yeah, that's true.
Because our generation don't do none of that.
Y'all can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, Nappy.
Yeah, what's going on? How y'all doing? I just wanted to come up here briefly to, I guess that conversation's all right.
What? You breaking up, Nappy?
I said, I guess you guys are talking about the scales, right?
Not necessarily. We weren't talking about the scales. We were talking about how there's applications out here that doesn't really enhance our color. And so when we use an application or we take photographs, it doesn't show us in our real color. And so what we were talking about is how people were in the sector saying that Nikki or others were lightening themselves because of another content creator decided to use one of those apps and lighten her just so he can roast her. And but that's not the case, because when I did it, I was able to make her the complexion that she needed to be.
Actually, there's a picture. If you Google it, there's a picture of her fairly dark. There's,
right.
It's
Right.
you'll see a picture of her that's extremely black. Well, not extremely, but than the picture that's up here, which I
Right.
thought was an oil painting back then.
Right. Right. And what it is, yeah. And but applications like there's not too many applications that can enhance our color. But there is, I was talking about how 3 women came out with an app that, that actually does do this, and hopefully, they will be able to catch up.
I
So,
think it's
good night,
interesting.
Keeper.
There was a lot of controversy in 2022 about the covers
Right,
of
yeah.
Vogue magazine and Elle magazine discoloring Black women's skin, even on the covers of their prestigious magazines.
Right.
Making them either too dark or washing them out. Yeah, it's a problem actual Black women face.
Yeah.
That's one of his subjects because I heard y'all a little bit earlier. First of all, a video, my last video, it was basically going over simple people. This guy who I just found about named Andrew Tate, he's been in the news a lot, and clearly he's some hated, I guess, social influence. When I seen this, I was on when you look at him, I was under the impression this guy was a full Billy Bob. When it turns out that this dude mixed. So he's got a full black father.
Yeah, I've been to that.
He's got a he's a mixed dude. And
that was really
I gotten a clip of him disparaging. They don't like him because he says a lot of stuff, a lot of borderline homo shit, and obviously anti-black. And I'm sitting here looking at this video like okay, who is this? How these mixed? And I think it's important to understand that figuring out who is and who isn't black, it's not so much colorism. I can paint my face blue, and then that's colorism. It's more biology, and there's some people are obviously more blacker than others, and to me, you can't help if you're multiracial or have admixture, but it's about choosing a side. All right, if you're gonna speak for black people, then don't sound like this dude is. This dude's clearly, when he wants to put out, well, he can always fall black back on, well, I'm black, or which he's not, right? Or he can go and he can, like, I see him with Rogan a lot. So for guys like that, I think it's important to make a class. The problem I think that Alan is having is this dude motivation, right? Just based on some of the things we were introduced with Alan, the motivation part guilt based on what we know about. Like, we know what he said about, apparently he said something regarding black women. We know he has an Asian kidney, all right? Okay, and which I'm not putting, because I've had some videos that in this second interesting conversations. One video is reviewing the black people better in prison, which is I can listen to it over and over. That. But I reviewed that whole video if you were there, and information, man. Conundrum, and I feel from beginning to end, and the shit was crazy. But to that, he knew I reviewed it, and he doubled down on it. And I'm like, how do you double down on it? Right? So and if he wants to take it to the shot, I'm not stupid. All you doing?
Nappy, you're going in and out.
Okay.
Nappy, you're
Can
going
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, you were going in and
Okay.
out. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry about that. So what I'm at, so is this scales thing, is it out of guilt based on some even present beliefs you have? I went on his platform, a couple weeks ago. Speakeasy was up there, and it was him, and I said, you know, I'm word nigga. Now, I'm not. I don't discriminate. Everybody here uses the word nigga, motion, whatever. Now,
You call
Mm-hmm.
somebody
I
a
don't get
street nigga.
Yeah, but I did. That is because he just the way he seems to talk. So I said, okay, man, okay, so but you
Can I
use
ask
that
Jill, do
word.
you perceive Alan as a street nigga? Because I didn't know what the fuck Nappy was talking about. Do you agree with that?
What
That Alan comes off
I
as a street dude?
was
Alan
saying
comes.
is he used.
Alan.
I just want to know, Nick. I just want to know, Nappy.
Alan
Oh,
comes
what's
off.
that?
Alan comes off as a person who's been ingrained in California type environment where there's like gangs and stuff, and so it's a whole different stilo. Like when I talk to him, I'm used to it because if you grew up on the West Coast, you kind of know it's not the same. Like it's not the same. Like the black people there, their whole ideology, what they're being exposed to, everything is so different from us that you'll have to actually go there to see it. Like for them, a
So do you
life.
think he sounds street?
Does he sound street? Yeah, he's
Okay.
actually worse than he's talking lighter online than he really actually does. I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's all about I'm sorry, Nappy, but it's all
Go ahead,
about
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
education too. It's how you package it. Some people don't package what they're trying to say as well. And then some of this is just, how there's people actually online who's really into this whole colorism, scales thing and everything else. And so some people just gravitate to it. But what I told him is that he got to put it in more in context when it comes to the black experience. Because we all know that the darker you are or the more black features you have and the wider your nose is and all those different things, you're going to experience more negative things versus somebody that doesn't have those characteristics. Because I told him that a lot of people in the industry change their nose. And that's the first thing that goes, and that's the first thing that describes what blackness really is that nose.
Mm.
And everybody changes that nose. And so he's coming from that place where he's noticing that on the scales per se that this person don't fit the scales, which means that they can skate by easily versus him. And so he's trying to big up people who are of color, who are of acceptance of all their characteristics, but it just comes out a little different. Yeah.
Oh,
But
is that what he's trying to do?
Yes.
I did not know, girl. Thank you for explaining. Go off, Miss Nikki.
all right, so I'm not into California culture like that. And again, I don't against dudes who use the word a lot, but some people use it as a way to almost like that's going to get you more accepted with black, which I disagree.
Right. Some people use it as a term and endearment, and some use it as a negative characteristic of black people. Like somebody will say, "Man, look at these niggas out here on the corner," versus, "Hey, my nigga." You get what I'm saying? So but that's ingrained in a lot of us. Like sometimes we do that. You get what I'm saying? Because it's ingrained in us to think that way. That's why you got white
Yeah,
people coming up. That's why you got white people coming up to some people saying, "You're different. See, those are niggers, but you're not." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because
which I don't, which that shit is dumb as hell. And again, like I said, it's not a big deal. But my thing with that was number one, you talking about you're a student of Francis Cress Welsing.
right. But he
She's
doesn't agree with everything that he doesn't agree with the one drop rule though, because he says it all the time. He says, "I agree with a lot of what she says, But that one drop rule, I don't agree with.
I don't see how people could keep following her because I believed in her since like what middle school when I first read her. But once I realized all that one drop shit was a bunch of bullshit, I can't fuck with Cress Wilson no
I
more. I don't know how people keep
think,
upholding her with all that shit is nonsense.
unfortunately, dudes in the conscious community, who are like major one droppers, like community bastardized her work. Let's just keep it a buck. They've really into her work and turned it into something that it's not. So but like I said, I'm just wondering if a lot of this is out of guilt. It'd be like, for example, I'm going through a lot of my content and stuff, but I'm looking through a lot of the Umar content, like, and I'm like, this dude, that last interview he did in the Breakfast Club was cooned out, but I'm looking at old shit like this dude is amazing. The bottom, but what does he always call people? Coons. You know what I'm saying? Who is constantly calling about agent,
right? But
and
he calls black people coons to get under their skin. He's a talker. He's a gap. The more you talk, it sounds like verbal diarrhea. Like that's what my husband always says. The more you talk, yeah.
Right. Go ahead. No video where he said, "I'm gonna send the slave catchers for niggas." I'm like, bro, what? So that's what I'm saying. So when Umar gets on saying black power, black power, black power, like, are you to exercise your own inner coon? So
no, he's doing everything for money. He found the lane and now he's sticking with it and he's using it and he uses talking points and he says words to get under people's skin and then people rally and people give him money. It's all coonish in that sense. He's doing the same thing that a pastor does. So
right, and so that's all I'm saying. If that's the case, as far as AAS, like, and I know that she is a pain in the ass to a lot of us. She's a black. If she's not black, if she's a full Becky, then she's probably hung with a lot of black people. But I don't believe that she is a full Becky, and that's another thing. Alan, he rolled with her for a minute, and now for him to say that, I think that she's not black at all. I'm like, okay, how would you?
Nappy, he rolled with her because once again, AES likes to act like she's a victim until you watch her in action. If you don't know and you see people, because like the one thing that he stands for, right, is he don't believe in people being dogs, right? Period. It don't matter who's doing it. But then when he realized that Anti and Rev G was doing the same thing, that kind of was alarming to him. So you really don't know. And everybody comes into the sector, right? Not knowing exactly like what happened transpired before, or you can't go on every panel, you can't see every live. A lot of times we're only seeing clips of stuff. We're not seeing everything in full context, or the person ain't telling us in full context. That's why I kind of stay balanced a lot because of that reason. But what I do want to say is that when it comes to, I always say I'm above consciousness, because the thing about it is that is it really, is it really just about race, or is it about capitalism with the race as a benchmark for how people are going to continue to get money? Because remember, a lot of people make money off of the music that we make, the movies, our ideologies, the things like that. But at the same time, they don't want to look completely like us. So when they want the booty, they want the breast, they want the thickness, but they do not want the wide nose, the skin tone. Like there's certain things that they're picking out that they want, and they're capitalizing on it, especially when it comes to TV shows. You'll see, so the thing about it is, for me, what my argument is this, that we're in a sector of a very opinionated people who have different opinions. Now, if we are allowed to share our opinions and then agree to disagree, or be open to other people's experiences, we'll probably be better. You know what I mean? Because I'm open to understanding what the person's talking about. And then my goal is to put it in context after that. Like, okay, I get what you're saying. So let me go ahead and add to it, because I get what you're trying to say, but it might be just like this, and we share those ideas, right? But what we typically do in the sector is, we come out here and we say what we say, and law is law, and I can't convince you anyway, and you're going to tear apart how I think, my situation, and all of that, instead of embracing.
Right. Yeah.
Like their
I mean,
perspective said, emotional gaslighting. That's what he means. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, like I don't like and her. I like people trying to make um identity withheld. Showed his face once, all right, just
right,
because the way he talks, all right. And I'm like, of course, with Alan and Speakeasy about the N word, and they were like, "Nah, you got a code switch. My skin is my uniform. I can't.
right.
When I walk, you see that I'm black. So it's what comes out of your mouth. Because again, I just gave you examples of conscious dudes. They can code switch all they want. These some of the biggest codes. So with A, I don't think that she's, and this is just my opinion. I mean, because we go, she's white or she's Mexican. If she was Mexican, she would have put out, she would have some type of accent or something. So to me, she's just a woman who just likes to troll.
I think that anti-Afro is a self-hating black woman, or
Right,
mixed, or wherever she is. I think she's a self-hating black woman.
right,
She has the typical characteristics of some of the black people in California who has some self-hating qualities about themselves when dealing with people from other parts of the United States. They have this kind of like well-to-do mindset, and she believes that she's better than everyone else because she's from California. And that's what I believe. I think that she's a self-hating black woman. I think she hates anybody who's more successful than her. And she just likes chaos and confusion. And she sits around her house, right? And working from home, agitating other black people, because she probably felt like when she was younger, she didn't fit in. She was the girl that nobody really messed with, or something like that. Because there's no way that I would be sitting here on the internet attacking people that look like me, and they're professional in their profession or anything like that. What I would be doing is educating them about how the world is, why our behavior on here can affect our work life. I would be more geared towards educating versus trying to attack a person because I don't like them. So she's a self-hating black woman, and she will always be a self-hating black woman because she hates herself. If I look,
I,
that's the thing. Yeah.
let me just say this before I step down. You may have a point in that if you see some and some of the films and the music that she uses, a lot of us, a lot of other black people for being different,
Right.
right? Like a lot of the '60s songs. I know a lot of those. I know some of the movies. Like she's not gonna use or New Jack City or a movie that we most blacks are familiar with. She's gonna use, and a lot of us don't know, but she may have been mocked because she was different, which is wrong in a different way. And maybe might have a point with that.
Right. But that's what makes her like everything that we're saying, a Svengali, a psychopath, a dark empath. She's all those different things. And the reason why she's all those different things is because she has probably has a personality disorder. I'm just speculating, along with some form of
Right.
mental illness. And the thing about it is that people in the sector entertain her, let them come to their channels, and this and that and this and that. And she'll still come there, but she'll come under a different name. She has this mindset that she deserves to be here in this space, and and that's the thing. So I've seen it before. It's unfortunate that she's this way. But I tell some people in the sector, don't, she wants to get clips of you talking a certain way so she can clip it and try to ruin your livelihood. And so
Content. I take
it's not content. She's actually behind the scenes trying to ruin people's livelihood. That's what she's doing.
right.
She's taking clips of people. If she can catch you saying anything inappropriate or anything like that, right?
Yep.
She knew where you worked. She will send those clips and cut them up and slice them and send them to your employer and add a little lie to it so they can investigate you, hoping to try to ruin your life, your livelihood. She doesn't care about your kids, your family. She doesn't
Right.
care about none of those other things, and that's what makes her evil.
Insane. Well, listen, Josephine, I'll see you at the next block party next year.
All right,
Shout out to everybody in the chat. All right, and happy New Year, and peace out.
all right. Goodbye. All right. Well, I'm going to cut out of here, but thank you all that came in and voiced your opinion. I don't have an issue with anybody on this part of the sector. I really don't engage too much with the trolls anymore, only because, you know, we're going into 2023. So hopefully, we can, keep the roast going. However, we can, touch on more intellectual things. I'll do that on the other channel with me and Nikki. And this channel is just for fun. So any topic, anything y'all want me to talk about, or anything, just hit my email. If y'all want me to go live more, hit my email. Let me know. I like those who come up on the panel. I don't have any animosity towards Alan, and I'm sorry that he had to leave. But the whole D-Darrell thing, I just can't do. I can't do all that. My tone of voice and my tone is too light for that. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for hearing me out. Thank you guys. Thank you, Carrie, for coming up and voicing your opinion. Thank you, Spottle. I definitely will work on trying to do that in 2023. Thank you, Caramel, Money to Burn, Keeper who came through. Thank you, my Ebu, very perspective. Vici, thank you for coming through. Muslim, D. Darrell, Alan, thank you. The DBA is still going strong. Thank you, QT, beautiful Bernice, and anybody else I missed. Thank you, Nikki, for coming in and supporting me, and I love that. Thanks for coming in, T Pre, brother of certainty, Muslim. I said that already. And let me see, anybody else I missed? I think I seen Slander come in. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, Vita, for taking the time out your day and showing up to my live. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my intro out there, and I'm going to see you guys in another chat. All right. Goodbye, everyone.